Namaste, aloha, welcome again to another class of Krishna book reading. My name is Janapati Das, and thank you. Please accept my respects. We're going to get into our Krishna book reading, but first we're going to do some hearing and chanting of Krishna's names. So feel free to join in with me. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Sira Swarupananda Paramahamsa Itinamine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Sira Swarupananda Paramahamsa Itinamine Aja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasudeva Bhaktivinoda Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nityananda, 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 Chaitanya, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Haribo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, welcome back. We are going to continue with our story on Govardhan Hill. As you recall, the story of Govardhan Hill, where the residents of Vrindavan were about to offer a sacrifice of grains and things to the heavenly demigod King Indra as a part of the agricultural sacrifice that they would do. Krishna knew that Indra, although a devotee of Lord Vishnu, a devotee of him, had, as frequently does when you have so much opulence and power, became puffed up and forgetful of his relationship, of his inferior, subordinate relationship with the with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Instead, he thought, "Oh, it's just this coward boy." Krishna suggested then that they forego the sacrifice with Indra and take all those things and offer it to Govardhan Hill and the Brahmanas, the cows, basically to Lord Krishna. And this, of course, made Indra very angry because he was being puffed up. He was envious and angry, which usually goes together with those kinds of things. And he ordered a deluge of Vrindavan from the Shambhataka clouds, which are there to create destruction of the universe at the end of time, at the end of the cycles of the yugas, at the end of the universe. And Krishna, basically all the people of Vrindavan who were being tormented by this rain and hail and heavy floods, took shelter of Krishna. And Krishna said, come with me, and lifted up Govardhan Hill with his pinky. He said, take shelter under Govardhan Hill. Take shelter of me. And for 7 days basically took care of all the residents. They didn't feel any hunger, tiredness, or thirst. And Indra was basically blown away by the situation. So he realized, oh, I think I've made a mistake. So that's where we left off. And we're at this new chapter called Wonderful Krishna. And we're going to continue with that. Without understanding the intricacies of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and without knowing his uncommon spiritual opulences, the innocent coward boys and men of Vrindavan began to discuss the wonderful activities of Krishna, which surpass the activities of all men. One of them said, "My dear friends, considering his wonderful activities, how is it possible that such an uncommon boy would come and live with us in Vrindavan? It is really not possible. Just imagine. He is now only 7 years old. How is it possible for him to lift Govardhan Hill in one hand and hold it up just like the king of elephants holds a lotus flower?" So for devotees, Krishna has an internal energy, Yoga Maya, which for devotees he uses oftentimes to allow his devotees to have loving relationships in them that are not opulence, pomp and circumstance, that are loving, friendship, parental, and in the material world, which is known as Mahamaya, the internal energy, which is Shakti, is against manifested externally to bewilder and delude the living entities who don't want to serve Krishna. So in this situation, the residents of Vrindavan, sometimes they get remembrance of the situation. They were, something really, they're doing these things, killing these demons, and Krishna's lifting the hill. How is he doing that? It's not like they think, well, he's the Supreme Lord. They think, well, maybe he's a demigod, or maybe something very important. They're under that energy, so they don't remember. There was a couple times where Mother Yashoda opens the mouth of Krishna and sees the whole cosmic manifestation and realizes, oh, my son's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and gets afraid. And Krishna just didn't like that, so he his yoga Maya again deludes her into believing, oh, this is my child, this is my baby. That must have just been some kind of thing in my mind. So they're wondering this here. To lift a lotus flower is the most insignificant thing for an elephant, and similarly, Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill without exertion. He really did. He didn't even have to use his pinky, but he just was showing, it's not a really big deal. If he's supporting, he can lift a mountain. If he's supporting all the universes and all the, everything is within him, and it's not any kind of problem. How hard is it to lift a mountain? This is oftentimes when people come into the world and they start to believe that they are some kind of incarnation of God. There's a lot of so-called gurus out there that are like this. They're like, I'm an incarnation of Jesus, or I'm an incarnation of God, or the avatar of this age, and blah, 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 blah. Maybe they have some little mystic powers that can make things manifest in their hand. But you ask them, can you lift a Govardhan Hill? Why is it that you have to go to the bathroom? How is it that you get sick and then you ultimately die? How is that? If you're God, it's like the funny scene in the Woody Allen movie, Annie Hall, and they're like, the one reporter, she's saying, oh, he's God, and Maharishi was Maharishi, who was with the Beatles, right? He was a big guru of the time, but he was an impersonalist guru. And Woody Allen is like, well, here comes God out of the bathroom. It's like, I always love that line, and I don't know, it's just funny. It's funny to me because it's true. These people are all fakers, and they're not telling the truth about the reality. When he was simply a baby, small baby, he could not even see properly. He killed a great demon, Putana. While sucking her breast, he also sucked out her life air. Krishna killed the Putana demon exactly as eternal time kills a living creature in due course. So this is a great thing, because ultimately we're all subject to the whims of time. The winds or winds of time, or whatever you want to say it is. You think you're young and you're beautiful and you've got it all together, and then wham, either if you're not killed by some car crash or disease or whatever in this life, eventually time just catches up with you. Your body starts to break down, and that's the end of this life. Everything you've worked for, all the people that you're associating with, that's it. So just like a demon, it comes to get you. When he was only 3 months old, he was sleeping underneath a hand-driven cart. Being hungry for his mother's breast, he began to cry and throw his legs upward. And from the kicking of his small feet, the cart immediately broke apart and fell to pieces. When he was only 1 year old, he was carried away by the Trinavarta demon disguised as a whirlwind. And although he was taken very high in the sky, he simply hung on the neck of the demon and forced him to fall from the sky and immediately die. Once his mother, being disturbed by his stealing butter, tied him to a wooden mortar, and the child pushed it towards a pair of trees known as Yamala Arjuna and caused them to fall. Once, when he was engaged in tending the calves in the forest along with his elder brother Balaram, a demon named Bakasura appeared, and Krishna at once bifurcated the demon's beaks. When the demon known as Vachasura entered among the calves and tended by Krishna with a desire to kill him, he immediately detected the demon, killed him, and threw him into a tree. When Krishna, along with his brother Balaram, entered the Talavan forest, the demon known as Denakasura, in the shape of an ass, attacked them and was immediately killed by Balaram, who caught his hind legs and threw him in a palm tree. Although the Denakasura demon was assisted by his cohorts, also in the shapes of asses, all were killed, and the Talavan forest was then opened for use of the animal inhabitants of Vrindavan. When Pralambasura entered amongst his cowherd boyfriends, he caused his death by Balaram. Thereafter, Krishna saved his friends and cows from severe forest fire and chastised the Kaliya serpent in the lake of the Jamuna and forced them to leave the vicinity of the Jamuna river. He thereby made the water of the Jamuna poisonless. So they're recapping all the stories we've read so far. Just very wonderful. Krishna protects. That's why Krishna says Abandon all varieties of religion, abandon all forms of ascending process, jnana speculation, and anything, and just surrender to God. Surrender to Krishna, and He will give you all protection from sinful reactions. So just like all our sinful karmic reactions that we've accumulated through our activities, sinful activities in this material world, by engaging the service in the loving service of Krishna, these sins can be killed, just like these demons. Another one of the friends of Nanda Maharaj said, "My dear Nanda, we do not know why we are so attracted by your son Krishna. We want to forget him, but this is impossible. Why are we so naturally affectionate towards him? Just imagine how wonderful it is. On one hand, he is only a boy of 7 years old, and on the other hand, there is a huge hill like Govardhan Hill, and he lifted it so easily. O Nanda Maharaj, we are now in great doubt. Your son must be one of the demigods." He is not at all an ordinary boy. Maybe he is a supreme personality of Godhead. So this is the closest they get with this, and then pretty soon they're just like, they forget because of Yoga Maya. They're just having this loving relationship, but yet it's a wonderful thing because they've given everything. They've given their life, everything. They've surrendered completely to Krishna. Whether or not they know that he's the supreme personality of Godhead, they act on that level. They act on a higher level. In fact, many people who are so-called religious, they do not have this kind of surrender to God. They like to surrender to God from a distance. They like to put it kind of in their thing, like, I believe in God. I'm a believer. I'm a Christian, but I have my life over here. I keep God sort of over there, and I do my pious activities so that I can go to heaven, and God will be there somewhere, maybe showing up once in a while. But meanwhile, my family and my friends and all my enjoyments, I'll have, beautiful body, I'll live forever, I'll have delicious foods, and, so it's just an extension of this sort of like self-centered attitude that people have in this material world. But the devotee is not like that. They give everything to Krishna. They surrender their whole life to Krishna. And just like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said in his prayer, "You can keep me near you, or you can kick me away, but I will always be your worshipful Lord, eternally." It's that kind of attitude. Whatever you want to do with me, Lord, please just let me be your, loving servant. Not a tinge of selfishness or in that. So, on hearing the praises of the coward men in Vrindavan, King Nanda said, "My dear friends, in reply to you, I can simply present the statement of Gargamuni so that your doubts may be cleared. When he came to perform the name-giving ceremony, he said that this boy descends in different periods of time in different colors, and that this time he has appeared in Vrindavan in a dark color and is known as Krishna. Previously he had white color, then red color, then yellow color. He has also said that this boy was once a son of Vasudeva, and everyone who knows of his previous birth calls him Vasudeva. Actually, he said that my son has many varieties of names according to his different qualities and activities. Gargacharya assured me that this boy will be all auspicious for my family, and that he will be able to give transcendental blissful pleasure to all the coward men and cows in Vrindavan. Even though we will be put into various kinds of difficulties, by the grace of this boy, we will be very easily freed from them." I like this analogy too, because in this situation, they were put in a lot of difficulties, but because they had complete faith and complete shelter of Krishna, Krishna always protected them despite the difficulties. Similarly, in our life, it's not like things are going to be perfectly smooth sailing in life. Life is full of all kinds of things, and not to mention the fact that you have to die eventually. But you always take hold of Krishna's feet and your Gurudev's feet. You always take shelter of that. You always have faith that he will protect you, and you will see that despite the rough times in your life, you will sail through it. You will sail through it with the strength and equilibrium that most people don't have, because they put all of their faith in the fallible soldiers, as Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada would call it. These fallible soldiers, these things in the material world, whether they're our husband or our wife, our children, our grandparents, our job, the girl, the car, the money, Facebook, whatever it might be. We have so many things that we distract ourselves. And it's not to say that we can't have a loving relationship with people, but we have to understand that they're fallible. One, they're not perfect, and just as we are not perfect, and two, their bodies are also temporary. So whether or not you are, even if you're in a loving relationship your whole life, you will watch your spouse die, or you will die before your spouse. So this sort of relationship, and then you put all, as Jesus would say, putting your house on the shoreline at low tide. Eventually that high tide will come in and take it away. And if you put all your support there, all your faith that this will protect me, you will see that it won't protect you. And come the time that you have to leave your body, it's just you. It's just you and this fear of leaving your body. Whereas if you take shelter of Krishna now, that is an eternal relationship. You're restating that. So through the difficulties of having to leave your body, leaving your friends and your family, you take hold of your Gurudev's feet. You take hold of Krishna's feet. And his feet are the boat that carry you over the ocean of nescience very easily. Actually, he said that my son has many varieties of names according to the different qualities and activities. Gargacharya assured me that this boy will be all auspicious for my family, and that he will be able to give transcendental blissful pleasure to all the cowherd men and cows of Vrindavan. Even though we will be put into various kinds of difficulties, by the grace of this boy we will be very easily freed from them. He also said that formerly this boy saved the world from an unregulated condition, and he saved all honest men from the hands of the dishonest. He also said that any fortunate man who becomes attached to this boy, Krishna, is never vanquished or defeated by his enemy. On the whole, he is exactly like Lord Vishnu, who always takes the sides of the demigods and who are consequently never defeated by the demons. Gargacharya thus concluded that my child would grow to be exactly like Vishnu in transcendental beauty, qualification, activities, influence, and opulence, and so we should not be very astonished by his wonderful activities. It's sort of like skirting around the way. He'll be like Krishna. He'll be like Krishna very much in the same way as he is, or Vishnu, sorry. After telling me this, Gargacharya returned home, and since then we have been continually seeing the wonderful activities of this child. According to the version of Gargacharya, I consider that he must be Narayan himself, or maybe a plenary portion of Narayan. So this is a very wonderful thing, because Krishna, the Narayan is an expansion of Krishna, but it's very, very wonderful. When all the cowherd men very attentively heard the statements of Gargacharya through Nanda Maharaj, they better appreciated the wonderful activities of Krishna and became very jubilant and satisfied. They began to praise Nanda Maharaj because by consulting him, their doubts about Krishna were cleared. They said, "Let Krishna, who is the kind, beautiful, and merciful, protect us." When angry Indra sent torrents of rain accompanied by showers of ice blocks and high wind, he immediately took compassion upon us and saved us and our families, cows, and valuable possessions by picking up the Govardhan hill just as a child picks up a mushroom. He saved us so wonderfully. May we continue to mercifully glance over us and our cows. May we live peacefully under the protection of wonderful Krishna. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 26th chapter of Krishna. Wonderful Krishna. So wonderful. Excuse me. So just a wonderful story, and we're going to be celebrating the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is who is the Supreme Lord in this day and age, in the mood of Radharani, the internal potency of love for Krishna and Lord Krishna, together in the form of Lord Chaitanya, and who so wonderfully and mercifully gave us the nectar for which we are always anxious in this day and age of hearing and chanting of Krishna's names. And Krishna is our support. He lifts our Govardhan hill to protect us. And this is a very wonderful thing because we can take shelter of Krishna. And as is said in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has established this science, inexhaustible science, in eternal science, the imperishable science of Bhakti Yoga, or of love for Krishna, which is what our natural function is, our Sanatana Dharma, our eternal function, to be a loving service of Krishna. It's like being the fish back in water. You can't take our loving service away from us. This is something that we've eternally had, but because of our tendency to be influenced by the external energy of Krishna and the enviousness and the desire to control, we've turned away. But the loving relationship for Krishna is still there, but it is covered by the cloud. And that's why it's very wonderful that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this process of hearing and chanting Krishna's name so that we can uncover our heart and see who we really are, see our natural function, and have the knowledge, have that science, that understanding, real science, not just some kind of speculative thought, but a real understanding of who we are, what the purpose of our life is, who we really are, and what our relationship is to the Supreme, and what we should be doing in this life, preparing ourselves to leave. So we're going to just do that a little bit more. Thank you very much. Chant some more. Hari Bol Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohan, 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 Gauranga, Haribo. Thank you very much. See you next time. Stay safe out there. Aloha.